interview questions and pod. Okay, I'll give you the questions list. So what is pod? Why is it differ from container? Okay, next, how many pods are exist? How many pods are exist in the system? How to check that? Then how many ways to create the pod? So how to get the running pods in the cluster? Suppose if you have a different namespace, with the help of namespace and within that namespace, how you will get other container, I mean running containers or pods in your system. So here you need to mention how to get the running pods in dev namespace. So here get the running pods in the cluster is different, getting the development namespace is different, so you can keep in mind that. So how to check the logs of a pod? Practically we can check all of this. So suppose if you want more details about the events, containers, labels, so annotations with our what images are used, that how you can check with this. So how to check in detail about pod command, which command we are using to how to schedule a pod on a node. What is the command? How to schedule pod on the node. So what is the attribute you need to specify? We'll see all of this in the Kubernetes environment with the help of kubectl command. How to delete the pod? How to delete the pod? Okay, delete, right? So this we can see all this in the Kubernetes environment. So let's go for, so this is our environment. Check kubectl get nodes. So minikube, so only one node is there, control plane node, and we can clear this and I'll go for my city. So this is where I was working. So this is the directory which we are going to work, and now we'll see one by one. So what is pod and why it is differ from container? So pod is nothing but a single instance of an application which will create in the Kubernetes system. So or you can say pod is a smallest object that you will create in the Kubernetes. So why it is differ from container? So container is having the code for running your application, some library settings and code snippet and all, but Within the pod, container is running. So a pod can have the multiple containers. That is the difference from a container and pod. So how many pods exist in the system, how you can check it. So in the Kubernetes system, how many pods exist? Kubectl get pods. Using the kubectl get command, you can get the list of pods. So there is no resources available in the system. Now we will try to create one pod and we will try to get it. So here what are all there? So nothing is available, so we can use mypod.ml. So we can insert this one API version. This is the version of the Kubernetes API. So kind is the type of object you are going to create, that is pod, and the metadata. Under metadata you need to specify the name, my pod, and spec. This is the simple pod YAML file. Spec, under spec we need to specify the containers. Within the hyphen represent the list. So we can specify any number of containers. So name is my nginx container, image was nginx. So this is the simple YAML file with regards to pod, and this we can run with the help of kubectl command. Then save it, and if you want to verify that, you can use cat command. It will list all the content which are available in the pod. So kubectl create -f my pod.ml. So the pod was created. Now you can try to get the pod, get pods. See, my pod was running. This is how you can create the pod. That is one way. And so one more way, with the help of kubectl run command, we can create it. Kubectl run redis. This is the name. Run is the command. Redis is the name of the pod, and use the image as redis. See, redis pod was created. It will give you the list of details now. Get pods. See, my pod was running. This is how there are two ways to create the pod. One is via kubectl run command, and with the YAML file. Both we have seen. So what is the next question? How many ways to create the pod? This was discussed. And how to get the running pods in the cluster. With the help of running pods in the cluster means kubectl get pods. So this is the running pods in the system. Using the kubectl get command, we can get the running pods in the cluster. How to get the running pods in the development namespace? So in the development namespace, in the sense, you need to specify the namespace while getting the pods. Kubectl get pods -m dev. That means get the pods in the development namespace. -n in the sense namespace. So there is no resources. We'll try to create one. Kubectl run nginx1 -image equal to nginx -m dev. So it will create the nginx1 pod under the development namespace. Namespace dev not found. That means we need to create the namespace first. Create ns dev. So it will namespace was created. If you want to get the namespace, it will get ns. See, development namespace was there. Now you can try to execute that command. So nginx1 was created. Now if you are trying to get the pods, running pods, without using the development namespace nginx1, it will not come. Get pods. So only two running containers will come, two pods, that is my pod and redis, and nginx1 it will not come. when if you want to get the nginx one container that you can use with the pods -n dev, then only it will list the pods under the development namespace. Okay, how to check the logs of the pod? So for checking the logs of the pod we need to specify logs pod using the my pod not found. Okay, wait a second. Logs of pod. See, this is how you can check the logs of the pod. So what we mentioned here, kubectl logs command pod my pod. So this will not work, so you can use directly logs and the pod name. So here the list of commands it was executed, and this is the log history. So here you can see entry point, docker entry point is not empty, so we will attempt to perform the configuration. So shell script is running and some of the commands were running. This is how you can check the logs of the pod. And clear this. Now what is the next question? How to check the detail about pod? In detail about pod, which command we are using? Suppose you want to get in detail about a pod, you can use kubectl describe command. So it will give you the in details about so what configurations are used and what labels are used, is there an IP configured, and any annotations and events containers in the image, everything we can see the help of describe command. See here. So name is my pod, under the namespace default, service account default, node minikube, and status running. So here the IP address is configured for that pod 10.244.0.ip, and the containers which are used in the pod, this is nginx container name image port. So state is restarted, and we can see some conditions volumes binding with this pod and some of the events which are occurred. This is how you can check the in detail about the pod. So clear this. So what is the next question? So how to schedule a pod on the node? So what is the attribute we need to specify? So for scheduling the pod on the nodes, we need to use the node name field under the spec, so that it will be scheduled on the specific node, not in the, this is manual scheduling. It will come if case of auto scheduling, automatically scheduler will take care of which pod goes under which node. So we'll try to create that one as well. And here we man schedule, I can say tool.yml. So hit enter. API version v1, kind is pod metadata name. So this is for scheduling the manual scheduling. I'm writing the pod for manual scheduling. So my pod 1 under spec. Here we can specify the node name field, node name. So that is minikube. Since I have that minikube, so I'm specifying the node name. Then you can use remaining as same containers hyphen name. If you are going with if you have more than one node, you can try to use whatever the node it is applicable for you, is the node 1 or worker node 1 or worker node 2, that you can specify here. I am giving that name is redis container, image was redis. So With the help of node name attribute, we can specify the which node this pod will be placed. This is not auto scheduling. Only for the manual scheduling we are specifying the node name field. Okay, now save it, verify it, any syntactical mistakes, so that is okay. Now we can try to run kubectl get pods -m, try to create -f man schedule.yml. So my pod 1 was created. Now you can try to get the pods. So you will not able to see the pod which node it is placed. So if you want to check that, with the kubectl get pods hyphen go wide, it will give you the in detail about which node it is placed. See here, you will see the node name minikube. Under the minikube it was placed, and it will give you the IP address and a nominated node and the readiness gates. So this is how you can try to check the node name with the help of kubectl get pods hyphen o wide. So how to delete the pod? For deleting the pod, you can use directly with the help of delete command kubectl delete pod. So you will try to get the pods first and see what are all available, and you can try to delete it. Kubectl delete pod my pod 1. I'll say my pod 1. So it was getting deleted. Now you can see if that is exist still in the system or not. So only two are running, my pod and redis. This is how you can delete the pod. So these are the questions majorly for the interviewers. They will ask to the topic which users will face the common error in the pod creation. So that is image pull back off or error image pull. So is this both are same issue or different? We can see now. So is a common error status that indicates a problem with pulling the container image from a Docker registry or container registry, that is Docker Hub or Google GCP. So now it is backing off before retrying. That means this is a part of backup retry strategy to avoid the continuous request for the Docker Hub registry to pull the image. So consider an example. So vi image error, I can say, okay, error pod .yml. So I am giving the name as error pod .yml. Here we can specify the wrong image name instead of original image. So write the pod definition file with the required fields. Kind is pod, p capital remaining small, and metadata. Specify the name of the pod and my pod error pod, I can say, for identification. Error pod, right? Okay, and then spec. So here you can specify the containers. Under containers there is image name and image name. We can say my container and image name. Suppose if I want to get the get the nginx image from the Docker Hub, so we need to specify the nginx image. Instead of that, we can create my nginx. So that means if the image is available from the Docker Hub, it will pull the image, it will create the container from that image. So let's try to execute this, save it, check the file. If so, this is the file which we have written. Now try to execute kubectl create -f errorpod.yml file. See, lowercase rfc subdomain must consist of lowercase alphanumeric characters. Kubectl create errorpod.yml. What is this? Okay, API version, kind pod, metadata, error pod. So we will change this to, instead of VIE error pod YML. So here name it was given error pod. Okay, now we can try to execute it, error pod.yml file. So now pod was created. Now immediately try to get the pods container creating. The initial step is running, and if you try to run one more again, error image pull. That means first it was giving the container creating. So since it is not ready, and here also not ready, error image pull. Now the first error message got. Now we can try to get the again. So image pull back off. This is the status from beginning to ending. So initially it was creating the container creation stage, and next is error image pull stage and image pull back off stage. So here image pull back off, it is backing up back off strategy, I mean back off retrieve strategy, to avoid the continuous request to Docker Hub to get the image from the Docker Hub. So now how to check the logs of this pod now? So instead of checking with the error only the status, how to check the logs and how to identify what is the cause for this? So now we can try to use kubectl describe command, pod mention error pod. Okay, now you can see the event section. So here you can see this event section under the pod complete. So normal scheduled. Okay, so pulling the image my nginx, failed to pull the image. So from here the error response from daemon, pull access denied my nginx because the image was not available in the Docker Hub. So requested to the resource is denied. That means it is giving the error message. Now initial message is error image pull, then again it is coming as a image pull back off. This is how you can check with the image pull back off. This is the most common user error facing. Now we'll go with the one more. We will create the replica set with the same wrong image. So you can give any name, rs definition.yml I can say. So here replica set, you know, right? This was already discussed in a previous sessions. Now you can check with writing the why I am choosing this, you know, because earlier it was only version v1, that is a Kubernetes version, API version. Now here apps v1, that is the difference. Why? That's why I choose this one to explain for replica set as well. For deployment replica set, daemon set for all apps slash v1. This is, keep in mind that. And this is a replica set, right? Use replica s capital set. Okay, metadata. Here you can specify the name as it is my rs error. Okay, because I am giving it as errors, right? I am explaining, so I am giving is for identification app, we can say front end. This labels we can discuss it later. Type is okay. Here you can specify the type as front end. App is you can use for my app or something, my app. Okay, then spec. So under spec there, what are the mandatory fields for the replica set? API version, apps v1, kind replica set. And under the spec we need to mention the complete information about the pod from metadata to type in a template section of a spec file. And we need to match with the label. That means under the selector we need to match with the label, and replicas is same for replica set and replication controller as well. Now we can try to give the template. Under that we need to pass metadata information, whatever it is available About data, name is my error, okay, and labels, app is my app, type is front end. So now you can specify the spec. Under spec we need to specify the containers. Double check the syntaxes, otherwise it will not work. So YAML syntaxes file is more important, and you can check the online validator if you are not sure on that. Container, name of the container, so my njinx container, okay, then image. So here we are specifying the wrong nginx image instead of original image which is available in the Docker Hub. My image I am giving, so my image. So that is finished section, and we can see that replicas. Now replicas we can set to, then selector. This is the one which we need to check properly. Okay, match labels, app, my app. See here, this label and this match label should match, otherwise it will not be executing. Once again I am telling this, and type as a front end. So even if you are not using the app, also not an issue, only you can use the front end. So this way we can see. If you remove this, type as a front end or web, this way you can choose. Okay, the selector, and under the metadata section in the template, that should match the labels. So try to save it and verify it. rs -definition. So this is the file. Now try to execute kubectl create -f rs-definition.yaml file. So replica set version even cannot be handled as a replica set. What is the issue here? Did we miss anything? rs definition, not cat, rs definition.yaml, apps v1 API version, kind replica set, metadata. Okay, everything is fine. Let's see what's the issue here. rs definition.yaml file. So error while creating the rs definition replica set in version v1 cannot be handled as a replica set. Spec.template is spell mistake, that's why I'm checking once again. rs-definition. This you need to keep in mind, that if anything is mismatches, then it will be template. I'm giving the template, I'm giving typo template. Now we can save it. Now we can try to execute it. So replica set was created. Now immediately try to get the rs, 2 desired and 2 current. Now try to get the pods. See, so error pod, that is previous one, so which we created previously in this session, and the my rs error. Now we have created the replica set, that is 1, desired parts is 2, and that was created the 2 parts with the prefix name as a my replica set. So error image pull, even for replica set also same, replication controller also same, deployment also same, and for every Kubernetes object it is same. If you are specifying the wrong image, it will give you the error image pull back off or error image pull. So what is the cause for this? Incorrect image name, you are specifying in a YAML file, and image does not exist in the registry, that is Docker Hub or Google Cloud Foundry, or private registry, that means in some cases a private registry, that is credentials needed, and the most common issue is network issues. So these four things you need to check. Then how to overcome with this image? Double check the image name in the YAML file and check the pod events if there are any issues with related to the pod, and check the proper network connectivity, and image pull secret if in case of private registry. These four things will ensure that then it will overcome the error image pullback off issue. So now we'll try to delete this, delete my rs right replica set, my give the name of that replica set. So it was deleted. Now you can try to get it, rs no resource found. So this is how you can work get pods. So pod also only one, that is previously which we have created. Now that also will create delete pod error pod. So kubectl minor spell mistakes. Okay, now this is how you need to work. Suppose if you try to create via kubectl command pod kubectl run hyphen name, give the name of the pod, my pod first, okay, hyphen image equal to nginx. So pod was created. Now you can try to get the pods. You can see actual pod is created or not. See, so once the pod is ready and running status, then only the container will be created, and you can see this images. The actual image is pulling from the docker registry and it is run as a container. This is how you need to clarify the image names correctly. And if you are trying to delete the images, suppose you will create one more image and will try to delete, use the same command, and instead of that you can try to use the redis image names. Okay, first was already there, right? I can say second. So redis image was created, my part second was created with the help of image redis, and get the parts. Two parts are running currently. Suppose if I want to delete both two parts at a time, you can use kubectl delete. You can use the both names, resource type my pod first. Okay, the server don't have the resource type my pod first because it is not allowing. So it is only having two pods, right? Delete. Okay, we are not specifying the pod, right? So how it will execute? See, even if you have multiple number of parts, you can try to execute. So we'll try that also. My pod first redis, my pod first created, image nginx, my pod first created, second created. I will create one more, third, okay, with the nginx image. See, now try to get the pods, get pods. Container is trying to create, wait for a second. See, so now there are three containers up and running, I mean three pods up and running. Now we will try to delete all three at a time with the help of delete command. Delete pod, specify the first, space, specify the second, space, specify the third, space. See, First one deleted, second one deleted, third one deleted. I will tell you the extraordinary coding skills if you go through these sessions. And I have seen that no, people are not commenting, and there is no likes at all. If you don't like it, really, that is not an issue. But if you like it, and that is more appreciated. And if you comment it, if you got any information on these sessions. And likewise, we can work with the replica set and a replication controller deployments services. So for any Kubernetes object, we can do this kind of R&D, so that it will give you the more in-depth of subject knowledge. I hope the sessions are informative. So these are the common issues and practice commands which we will see under the pods. In upcoming sessions, we will see a few more like labels, selectors, and node affinity. What are the taints and tolerations? This we will see in the upcoming sessions. For now, we can close this session.